Our next guest is from the Baraza Media Hub. She is a program manager for a program called Fumbua, Wanjiru Nguhi. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It's good to be back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
Last time you were here, we were talking about misinformation, disinformation.
Yes.
And what was happening, particularly political content.
Yes.
And how people need to watch themselves for that. Mm-hmm. Then also there's a COVID content and how people need to basically be aware and alert. Today we are still talking about misinformation, disinformation, but specific to something. And this is what's been happening on social media regarding some products. And yesterday, the Pharmacy and Poisons Board actually came out to warn Kenyans against these products. We'll talk about them shortly. To welcome you to the show, let me give you today's proverb. It's from West Africa. These countries of Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, there's a people called the Songhai people. It used to be the Songhai Empire.
Yeah.
So the proverb goes, salt cannot glorify itself in the sauce. Salt cannot glorify or praise itself in the sauce. What's your understanding and interpretation of this?
Oh wow, salt cannot glorify. Like salt just salt. It like it doesn't need to glorify itself. You will tell that there was salt or there was no salt. It really doesn't need to announce itself. Like you're either salty or you're not. I think this applies to people as well. When you're salty, you're salty. Yeah. So I think if something is good, then it doesn't need to announce itself. We can see that it's a good thing. It's
Chema chajiuza.
Kibaya chajitembeza.
There you go.
I remember Swahili. Look at that.
Very well.
I'm so proud.
Okay. So on the 1st of August, you as Fumbua released a statement, and I'm just going to read a bit of it.
Yeah.
A report released today reveals that Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram are permitting the advertising and sale of unapproved and dangerous medical treatments to women in Kenya.
Yeah.
These treatments exploit misinformation about health and pose a significant risk to the women who purchase them. The investigations highlight the global failure of tech giants to protect women in Kenya against such predatory marketing. And this is quoting you as having said this. Immediate action needs to be taken to ensure tech companies take responsibility for the safety of their users as they claim that they do with the rules that they set for themselves.
Yeah.
Yesterday, there was a statement from the Pharmacy and Poisons Board signed by the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Yoni. The Pharmacy and Poisons Board wishes to advise the general public against the use of a product known as Yoni pearls, which may also be referred to as vaginal detox pearls, herbal tampons, cleansing pearls, or vaginal pearls. The PPB notifies the public that Yoni pearls is neither registered nor authorized for use in Kenya as required under the Pharmacy and Poisons Act, and therefore their usage poses potential public health risks as the PPB cannot guarantee their quality, safety, or efficacy. In this light, the PPB strongly advises against the distribution, supply, sale, or use of the aforementioned product and any other unregistered products with similar claims. This is a big one.
It's huge.
Okay, now give us the background.
Okay, so the background to the report.
Yes.
Okay, so as you know, I know we were here when we launched Fumbua, and what we were intending to do with Fumbua was to create awareness about mis and disinformation that was going on. And at that time, particularly, it was during the elections. And so, you see, once the election ended, we usually have this thing of looking at society through election, like through the lens of an election, especially when you're working in this space, like civic and whatever, and like this other space. You tend to look at it from an election. And so the question was what, we've been doing advocacy with platforms, especially during the elections, where we were calling on platforms to tighten their content moderation, to tighten their labeling on Twitter. And that did not work the way we thought it was going to work. So we asked ourselves, okay, what happens now that the elections are over? What can we do to help the society? Because it's not just election. There, mis and disinformation is also a social thing. Like the way we process information, the way we share information, it's it's not just political, it is a social thing. And this was the one thing that stuck out for us. It was what is going on in the sexual and reproductive health space, because there's a lot of disinformation going on there. And like I was explaining to you earlier, mis and disinformation is not a new thing. We've had people tell each other lies like over the years. The problem that we are facing now is that it is being amplified at a rate that is it's dangerous right now. I could be sitting here in Kenya and I think about something and I share it, and people across the globe are going to either believe it or do something about it. And we thought, since there's a lot of mis and disinformation in the SRH, what is really going on, and who can we hold responsible? Of course, there are many layers of responsibility. When it comes to social media platforms, there is the person who's using it and the person who's posting it. Then there's the platform itself, and then there's the government, right? And so for me, every time I'm looking at responsibility, it's always in those three: the personal responsibility, institutional responsibility, and structural responsibility. And so we went for institutional responsibility, where we are holding the platforms accountable. Because number one, if these adverts were not on Facebook and Instagram as amplified as they were, then so many women would not have the information that they can actually use these piles, and it would do all these things for them, which is actually not true. That's why we're calling it disinformation, because it is harmful. And these lies are being spread deliberately because they're trying to take advantage of the fact that conversations about sexual health are not really we're not having these conversations, like we're having them in hushed tones. The closest we ever got to having like a public conversation about sexual health and reproductive rights was during my Always experience, which I was very happy to be a part of, where we were just calling out, brands for giving us terrible pads, especially in Africa. And after that, we've not had like public conversations about our sexual health. And I feel like this is a part that is being exploited. And also the fact that women, there's a certain pressure for you to be a certain way, for you to be sexual, to be clean, to be healthy, to look like you're reproductively attractive. I don't know where this come from. I don't even know what. Yeah. So this was very, very important to us. It was also important to me personally because I was involved in my Always experience, and I'm always against the culture of shaming and the culture of especially shaming women for their bodies and what their bodies, what the kind are supposed to do, what they're supposed to smell like, what they're supposed to. So this was just for us. It was. Let's go with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then something must have catalyzed this action, right? Because these products have been in the space for years.
Yes.
It's not a 2003 thing.
No, it's not.
Right?
Yeah.
They've been used, they've been marketed, they've been sold across the world, not just in Kenya.
Yes.
So what was the spark that then suddenly they're not healthy? What happened? Did somebody get sick? Was it then traced back to these pearls? Did somebody from the medical profession say, actually, no, folks, we shouldn't be using this? Or has there been information that has been put out over years that maybe is duller than the marketing information, and then now it's making its debut?
Yes, actually, Yoni pearls have been banned in several countries. And to come to Kenya and see that these things are being advertised freely, we have groups with over 200,000 people selling these things. These groups are being amplified onto your feed. So whether or not you want to see them, you will see them on your feed because they are paying for adverts. Meta is taking money, from these adverts. So there was a spike in the number of groups, and we thought, okay, this thing has been banned in several countries. Why is it that it's being sold here? And why is the advertising so so out there? There are no community guidelines whatsoever being enforced here, where these things being yet these things are actually dangerous. They've been banned in different countries, in various countries. And so why is Facebook allowing the adverts of this thing? Because it's the adverts that then creates the hyper visibility and amplification of these things.
So you say there's a breach of community guidelines.
There's a breach of community guidelines, yes.
Community guidelines.
The community guidelines that prevent the adverts of harmful products. Like, for example, you cannot wake up to sell like medicine for example, to kill, yes, like you cannot.
So these are guidelines that have been developed by Facebook.
Yes.
And when you join Facebook, you basically tick the box.
Yeah, well, although we hardly read
Right?
this.
But
we
you tick the box to accept these guidelines.
Accept these guidelines.
What
yes.
do the guidelines say specifically that would relate to this particular matter?
The guidelines. Okay, so like I said, there are different levels of responsibility.
Yeah.
There is obviously where, like, if you post, for example, if you post something, like for example, you're trying to harm someone, Facebook will not allow you to post. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Normally, what is supposed to happen if you put?
Well, I haven't seen it. I haven't.
Oh, you
tried.
haven't tried
to post
it.
Say, I
anything.
will kill someone.
You should just say, "I will murder you." If you just write, "I will murder you,"
I wouldn't.
Even no, I'm saying, like, even if it's a joke, you know the way someone makes a joke and you write on Facebook, "I will kill," or someone has whatever, like for whatever reason,
Okay.
you will not be able to post that because
Yes.
it goes against the community guidelines.
Yes.
So what is supposed to happen is that, number one, we should be having tighter content moderation, which is supposed to flag this kind of content. So whenever you put out where Facebook itself, like where Meta itself has not flagged this, the content moderators should be able to say, okay, this has been flagged and we need to take it out.
So how would Facebook know that this particular product is harmful?
They would know that by
Because I can post anything today. I can actually start selling product that's legit off the shelves of Kenya.
Yes,
right?
if it is legit off
And
the
I can
shelves of
post
Kenya,
it.
yes, then you
How
can
would
post
Facebook
it.
know that this is legit and this is not legit?
Because you see, this is not one. These things have been banned in other countries. This thing is poisonous. This thing is actually harmful to women.
Which countries?
USA, Canada, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So once you know that a product has been banned in another country, why would you permit the sale of the state product in a particular country?
Until yesterday, had the government of Kenya communicated anything about this particular product?
Yeah.
Had it?
No, it hadn't communicated.
Okay.
We saw the communication
so
yesterday.
if you are a moderator and you're looking at content within Kenya,
yes.
how would you know that this product is harmful in Kenya?
Unless the poisons board, and that is when I was saying there's a structural part of it, which is now the government, and then there's the institutional part of it. Now that Facebook is aware that these things are harmful, what we now want to see next from them is, since now you're aware that this thing is harmful, and we have showed the report that these things are being advertised on your platform, then take it down.
Basically, what I'm trying to arrive at here is, like you said, there are three layers.
Yes.
There's the user.
Yes.
Then there's the platform itself.
Yes.
And there's the government.
And then there's the government.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
So at user, this is community level.
Yes.
You
it is
join this
interpersonal,
particular community and you're interacting. And the platform is basically created to enhance that interaction.
Yes.
Among community members.
Yes.
And tries to see, so who else fits this community and tries to even introduce that community to you, the other members into this community. That's a whole essence of the social media platforms.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the members of a community are engaging.
Yes.
There's the community guidelines that says, I mean, you cannot do things that would harm one another.
Yeah, you cannot sell things that can harm one another. Yeah.
Yes. Now, the things that would harm one another are then, there must be a matrix of determining what is harmful and what's not.
Yeah.
Globally, it's acknowledged that things that would be talking about violence against children, murder and such things, harmful. If we start having a conversation that, we are going to start buying and selling land, if certain members of the community believe that this is a con, that is for them to flag it.
Yeah.
And there are guidelines and provisions on how to flag.
Yes.
If you find that this is is going against the community guidelines, flag it.
Yeah.
And then the platform then comes in and reviews, right?
Yeah.
Is this actually harmful? If it is, completely takes it down, cautions the community member. So it's then the community that should be able to flag it. So in this particular case, if community members have not flagged this, if community members are saying, well, yeah, we are participating in this, we're finding this product, it's working for us, or they're looking at it and thinking, well, I have nothing against it.
Except the product
Why are
was
you
not
putting responsibility on the platform?
Except the product, because of the amplification of this lie, because of the fact that you're taking adverts from a product that is actually harming women.
But
this product is actually, that is why we are calling it
that's why the question I started with, Wanjiru.
Yes.
How would the platform know that this product is harmful if A, the government has not told it that this product is harmful,
But the community,
and B, the
you
community
remember-
has not said that this product is harming us.
The community has said that the product is harming us, but this is what usually happens when you amplify something on social media. For example, the testimonials of people who have had negative will not be seen. What will be seen are the groups that are selling it, are the testimonials that actually work for the product. And this is where now platform accountability comes. You cannot just amplify the thing, like it's the amplification that we have a problem with. It's the business model that we have a problem with, because once you start saying that this thing is harmful, and yet you have already boosted a post that says that this thing is actually very helpful, which one are you going to see first? You're not going to see the people who are saying that the product is harmful to them. You're going to see the people who have positive, disinformed, opinions about this thing, and yet these are just marketers and sellers who are saying that this thing is wonderful, this thing is perfect, it has helped me in this particular way, because of the advert and what is being amplified by the platforms.
Okay, what would happen in this case if we've seen that the Poisons Board then came out yesterday and
Yes.
said, certain things, and said, look,
This thing is poisonous,
this thing
yeah.
is, and we're discouraging people from using it
yes.
anymore.
Note,
It has
the
not
Poisons
been-
Board has the power to
Yeah,
ban
yeah, that's
the
what I was
product.
just about to say.
Yeah.
They've not banned the product. They've discouraged people from using it based on 1, 2, 3. If it was something that they deemed to be like that, would they not actually come? Because it's not the first time that we've seen them speak.
Yeah.
And in previous times, they've been a lot more hard-hitting and said, look, absolutely not. Stop it now. Stop the sale. Stop the purchase. Stop the stocking.
contains
Stop the
harmful.
distribution. It contains harmful 1, 2, 3. And they've been very clear about that.
Yeah.
We've not seen such hard language with
Then-
this particular one.
Of this particular product.
Why would that be?
Then I think also the medical professions also need to weigh in and say why this thing is harmful, why we should not be doing this. They need to also come out very slow, because also when we're looking at disinformation, it's not just a one sector kind of thing. We also need like the professionals to come in and say this thing is harmful because of this, that and the other. And the fact that that has not happened, we hope that that will continue to happen, and that we will not have and we will not have women using harmful products. So there are so many layers to this thing, and there's so many layers of accountability here.
Yeah.
And so I want to see that happening.
Do platforms have a responsibility to find out about, because this is not in most cases there are vendors,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
who access and who use the platform to sell their products or to sell their services.
Yeah.
The platform being, like Meta, for example, or
Yes.
anybody else,
or you
right?
or Google, or yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do these platforms have a responsibility to take a fine-tooth comb through every sale that a vendor is making, or through every product that a vendor could be selling? Because we see everything short of selling human heads on these platforms that are being sold.
Yeah.
Is the platform responsible for saying, okay, Eric Latif and Sons is selling 1, 2, 3? Has this been banned anywhere? Do they have that responsibility to do that? Or is their responsibility to make sure that everybody's playing in a safe environment generally?
Yes, the responsibility is to make sure that everyone is playing in a safe environment generally. But where you're going to take advertisement money, don't you want to know what people are advertising on this platform? How do you verify an advert? Because during elections, they were saying they will not accept political adverts, right? So why is it that when we are selling harmful products to women, then now we are now looking at it from a fine-tooth comb? Why doesn't that? Yes.
You are calling it harmful.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes.
The community members who are placing adverts and all are not calling it harmful.
That's because they're selling. They're selling it. Why would you?
Those that
they're
are purchasing
selling.
are not calling it harmful.
Those that have purchased it are calling it harmful.
The government has not called it harmful.
The Poisons Board has come out. They've discouraged the sale of this
until
thing.
yesterday.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about by the time you're releasing your statement on the 1st of August, the government has not called it harmful. You're the one who's calling it harmful and saying that now they have a responsibility because people are selling harmful products. And that's why I started by asking you, how would the platform know that this is harmful? Specific to products.
I mean, because they are harmful, because people have said that they are. The people who've used it have said that they are. They have come out to say, we've used this thing and this thing is harmful to me. The people, why you will not see that is because the people who are buying these adverts are saying a completely different story, and that is what you will hear.
Yeah.
But when you really listen to the women who've used these products, they will tell you that these things are harmful.
We
hold on a
advertise
minute.
soda on radio.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
There are many people in the world who come up and say various things about specific soda brands and saying that these soda brands are harmful.
Yes.
Should we stop advertising the soda brands?
Well,
Yet they haven't been banned by the government.
They haven't been banned by the government because also this is it's a business conversation. It's a conversation about who's making the most money, who's making it well, who's paying the taxes, who's doing these things. So there's also the capitalist, conversation about money, who makes the most money, who pays the most taxes.
So from where you sit,
Yes.
should we stop advertising soda?
We shouldn't. How harmful is it?
The government has not called it harmful.
Okay.
We operate in a regulated environment, and the regulator has not said this is a harmful product.
But you see, you cannot compare the harms of Yoni pearls and like that. Those are like two very different
How?
conversations. Those
How?
are two different. Those are two different conversations.
Both are harming the body, supposedly.
Yes, both are harming the
Human body, supposedly. Okay?
Yeah.
But in both cases, up until yesterday, the government has not come out to say this is not approved.
So it means then we were advertising for something that has not been approved on a I know, and this is why I say there's institutional and then there's a structural. When one fails, then it doesn't matter what these others do. But because now this one has failed, so we hold this one to account and then forcing this other one to come into the picture and say, listen, this thing is harmful, stop the advertisement, stop the advertisement of this thing. Because also there are different layers of accountability. Sometimes the government may fail to see something that is flagged off by people, like what we did, and say this thing is harmful, it's being advertised on this platform. We need to see accountability, but so we are happy that the Poisons Board has spoken about it. What we now want to see is it now being taken down, from the platforms.
So if we're playing in the arena of information, misinformation, and disinformation, essentially what I hear you to be saying is that some of the ads that we see, right, with what a lot of vendors use called testimonials, people talking about what this thing has done for me, are we saying that those also may be created to give people an impression that is not necessarily true?
Yes, that happens a lot. That really, really, really happens a lot. And I'm happy that you're asking about the government, like what is the responsibility of the government? Because what we are seeing is that government is playing catch up to what is going on the platforms. So like they're not, because you will not see something coming in until it is now a problem, like what was happening with what is this thing with WorldCoin. It came in, they had offices, they had even policemen guiding the lines until the government said, oh wait, this thing is because you're playing catch up. And so just to answer your question, yes, anything that you see online being sold, you have to be a bit more careful about it, because people are using lies to sell things. We know that for a fact. People will be using even this coming of land and things like that. People will say this is valid, there's a valid title, and then you buy it and then you realize that it has been scammed. Yes, it is going on. And so apart from asking people to do their verification and to do their due diligence, there's also the layer of accountability that now comes with the platforms. If you're going to put an advert, can we at least make sure that these adverts, one, are within the community guidelines, and once someone has flagged it, can it be taken off? And then now to the government to say, can we have a more regulated space? Can also do we know how many platforms and how are they operating? Can the government actually summon them to ask them about content moderation, to ask them about what is your role in some of this, even like post-election, the post-election tension? Can the government actually summon these platforms? And we haven't gotten to that point where the government can, and I think we should. We should get to that point where they're actually not just accountable to us as the users, but they're also accountable to government,
and
because
the laws of the land.
Yes, and the laws of because they are, like they're taking our money, so you can't say that you're not bound by our laws. And so we also like what is going on with the case, at the in court, the SAM and the Facebook case. It gives us an opportunity to hold them accountable to some extent, and we hope that we can expand this precedence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wanjiru Nguhi from Baraza Media Lab. She's the program manager for Fumbua. They raised the concern on the 1st of August with regards to the advertisement and promotion of products called Yoni pearls on social media and in the community. And yesterday, the Poisons Board came out and discouraged people from particularly purchasing or using any of these products. Now, Wanjiru is here because, you're talking about concern and what people should be doing, what people should know about, misinformation and disinformation. When you see information on platforms, then what's your responsibility as a person to actually authenticate that this, whatever is being sold, is genuine, is real? What is the responsibility of the platform? If you hear an advert on Spice FM today, what's the responsibility of Spice FM?
Yes.
What's the responsibility of government as the overall regulator of all these things?
Yeah.
Now, you have specific focus on the responsibility of the platforms.
Yeah.
Where does it start? Where does it end?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So in such cases where communities, people are basically just coming onto the communities and they are transforming them into marketplaces, and you're selling things, and in some cases you boost a particular post because you're selling your product. So what should a platform do before accepting your money to boost it?
What the platform should do before accepting your money is to first of all verify that the thing that it is that you're advertising, one, it is illegal, two, it is registered. And this is why it is very important to talk about content moderation, because content moderation is contextual to every specific country. And that is the thing that we're saying, okay, we're not telling people, because also we do not want to limit the freedom of expression. We want to create like if we are all now on the online platform, it needs to be safe. You cannot say that because we all have roads and we all know how to drive, then we do not abide by traffic rules, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to, one, as a consumer, as a person who's reading the thing, you can only do so much to verify. You can only verify to the nini of your to the level of what you know and the information that you have. When we move over to the platforms now have to make sure that the things that we're not being scammed, like things that we could actually avoid being scammed on, and that is now where the issue of content moderation comes in, where you actually have enough content moderators within various fields and who can speak various languages, well remunerated, well paid for, because also the work of content moderators is really hectic. And then now we have the government that is supposed to create a framework and a regulatory framework that not only just protects the citizens themselves, but also holds these platforms to a much more higher standard, where we know by the time you're getting into the Kenyan online space, like the government already knows your license, and you can be held accountable to our laws.
Yep.
You cannot, you cannot run away from accountability by saying, but we're not a Kenyan company, yet you are taking Kenyan money. We're really pushing, we're really saying, please, can the government come in? Because there's also so much platform accountability we can do. And at some point, it ceases to even make any sense when there's no regulatory framework where these platforms can actually be held accountable. So there are many layers of responsibility. Some of them are broken, especially the higher up you go. But here we are doing.
Sure. So if the government holds the responsibility for regulation, it doesn't really matter who you are, whatever it is that you're selling, whether it is just offering up a platform for people to then come and vend.
Yes.
If they hold that responsibility, that means essentially that the fine lines then all of them must be looked through.
Must be looked through, yes.
So because in some of these cases, we can only act after the fact. If a piece of information has come out,
unfortunately,
then you think, okay, well, this has been around for some time, so let's put out what the Poisons Board put out yesterday and say, let's discourage this. Can we assume then that there's further due diligence that they will then be doing in terms of testing this, in terms of then going back and saying, actually, we should check what's going on here before they then come back and give some information? Should we assume that? And in the meantime, should the vending continue to be, because one could argue that we've not been told not to sell. We've not been told that people should not use this. All you get is a warning. After all, we see warnings all over the place.
All over the place,
smoking is bad for your health. If you want to keep smoking, that's up to you.
Yes, but you know that smoking is bad for your health. The thing with the Yoni pads, that they did not know that it was harmful. So something like a disclaimer, like you see what they're doing with Twitter. What are they called? The commentary. It's not the commentary. The thing like when it's a headline and then there's a what is it called? The description.
They put a disclaimer.
They put a disclaimer. So if something like that would work, now you're aware. If you sell from this person, this thing could actually be poisonous for you. So that now when you make your choice, now we are now back to the personal responsibility. Our problem is not even with it is with the vendors who are selling, but our greatest problem is with the advertisement and the amplification of this thing. There's no disclaimer, there's no nothing. So you're scrolling, you're having problems in your mind or whatever could be going on. You want whatever it is that could be going on. You see an advert, there's no disclaimer. disclaimer, there's no nothing. You cannot even see the negative reviews of this thing because of the adverts and the boosting and you know what, you know. So and then you buy it and then it harms you. So now we now have to come back and say, so a disclaimer would be really helpful.
But then we'd have to disclaim everything. I mean, then it should just be obvious that
buyer
whatever
beware.
Yes,
buyer beware.
It's a buyer beware
It's a
kind
buyer
of
beware
society.
situation.
Let's just put it this way. Say City and I set up this new look kind of shopping centers, right?
Yeah.
Containers, and you know, we have a nice setup and the security, and we've provided ample parking, and we are letting out shops. Somebody has a butchery, somebody has whatever they're calling a pharmacy, somebody else is doing a salon and beauty product, and somebody else is doing vegetables, groceries. Now, is it my responsibility as the platform owner to vet each of my vendors? To know you are a butcher, the nyama that you're selling here is legit.
Zebra.
It's not zebra, it's not dog, it's only meat that has been classified as meat by the government of Kenya.
Yeah.
It has come from this particular slaughterhouse, it has been inspected, it has followed all due process by the time it gets to your butchery. Is it my responsibility?
Who as a platform?
Yeah.
It is, well, as the platform.
I'm the owner of this shopping mall.
You're the owner of the shopping mall. As the owner of the shopping, you know, you don't just get into the country and do a shopping mall without having registered with the government and all of these things.
Yes, I have.
And that is why we are saying that there's a structural and there's an institutional. So can we? So now, when we do the structural responsibility properly, the platforms will abide to this structural.
Yeah.
To this structure. So when one breaks, then it is very difficult to enforce this, even at a personal level.
But that's what I'm saying. You see, as the person who has the shops and I'm letting out the shops, somebody has come and said, I want to start a butchery.
But the minute someone says that this meat is poisonous, then you cannot continue to sell it.
See, I'm not the one selling. It is this person who's selling.
Yes. You only have the mall.
I have only lent them space in my mall. Okay? So I'm the platform. This is the user, and they are paying me so that they can operate from this particular slot.
Yes, you're taking them
now. Until community members come and say, "Huyu mtu anauza nyamba ya umbwa," I would not know.
Yes,
and I don't have a responsibility to actually authenticate that this butchery is selling legitimate meat.
But if people have told you, if people have come to you with legitimate
when
concerns,
one person
the
comes
community,
and says,
yes,
can I shut down the butchery? Can I say, please, I am not no longer going to be your landlord because one person came and said, there has to be a threshold, right?
Yes.
Of the number of people who come out to say that hii nyama ya hii butcher ni mbaya. Then I, as the landlord, now has to talk to my tenant, the butcher, and tell them there are concerns.
Yes.
And I'm going to cancel your lease.
Yes.
Or whatever action
as
that I'm going to take. Right?
As you should.
But then there's a threshold.
Yes.
Sindio?
Yes.
If more people are coming there to say, I love this nyama from this. In fact, there are long queues every day. And only 10 people are complaining. I look at the long queue and not the 10 people.
But you see, for this particular advert, it's not about 10 people or women have actually been hospitalized for these things. And the way we did this report, we were not doing the report to focus on the women because also we do not want to have the conversation about the actual product because we are not about the actual product. For us, the main point of the conversation was about the platforms.
Yes.
What are you advertising? What are you amplifying? Are you amplifying harm? Are you amplifying products that are going to harm people despite having been complaints that these products are harmful? What is your responsibility as a platform?
Which is why I'm coming in. Just a minute. Which is why I'm coming in.
Yes.
I see exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
And I also agree that there's a level of responsibility.
There is a level of responsibility.
It is the level that you are assigning to the platform that I am not sure I agree with.
Okay.
Because it appears to me that you're saying that for as long as there was a comment, somebody said I was hospitalized because I used this product.
But it wasn't one comment, though.
Okay, as long as there are 5 comments. But those
You're
5
really
comments,
minimizing.
those 5 comments haven't been verified that these people were hospitalized because of using the product that was basically bought from this particular because of this advert. You know, how do we trace back? How does a platform trace back? They've created a way in which the community can report community guidelines, right?
Yes.
If community members feel that there is harm, they flag.
Yes.
There's a threshold, I'm sure, that they use. If we see X number of flags, then clearly there's an issue.
Yes.
If we haven't hit that threshold, we are monitoring and observing. Now, you seem to be saying that they should lower that threshold. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
No, I'm not saying we should lower the threshold. I'm saying, first, I agree with you. Yes, there is a level of responsibility. At the beginning, when I started having this conversation, when we were talking about, the pressure that women have to be a certain way, to look hygienic, to look all of these things, there's also that gray area that we're not really, talking about, over here. And it's because of these silences and these cultures and this shaming that we might not have like the 100,000 comments, because the last time we saw that was during my always experience, and even then it has taken time even for the past to rebrand, because it takes time for even women to be heard on these platforms.
Yep.
When you listen to people who've talked about being cyberbullied, they will report and nothing will be done. So what we are asking the platforms to do is, when you say that you're protecting women and you want this space to be safe for women and vulnerable people, can you then make it actually safe? Can you actually have it? Yes. So if someone has come and have said that we have problems with this thing has harmed us, could we have a disclaimer? Could we have before you make the decision to actually put it off, could we have a disclaimer? Because we are also operating within a society that shames women for speaking out against these things. I don't know what it would look like. I don't know what conversation we would have if hundreds of women came and said the Yoni pads are not working. Then the question at the back of their mind would be, okay, Kwani, how is your body? How do you, so there's that also. There's also that to put at the back of them, of your mind. So at the very least, could we have had a disclaimer? These things have been banned in this country, so be careful when you use them. Something that says you actually care about the people who are being targeted, and you actually care about the society within which these people are being targeted, and why these things are being sold, as violent. Is violently the word to use? As violently as they're being sold. I don't know if that's the word to use.
As aggressively
as they're being sold. As aggressively as they're being marketed. Because there's a need. There's a societal need to be everything to, yes. So there's also that to have at the back of your mind. Well, when we talk about the threshold, which is a good question, there's also the context around sexual health and women and how we have conversations about these things.
Do you think it's worth having a conversation that then includes other professionals here?
Yes.
Because this is something extremely sensitive. Like,
yes.
This is what we prefaced this entire conversation on,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And we're saying that when it then comes to things like sexual health and things that women get into, very rarely are questions asked from health professionals. You know, it's a testimonial, and we know what it's like. It's like one big, gab fest. Yeah. And so long as one person has said this has worked for me, and then you hear it from somebody else, you then take it as gospel, and then you want to try it on yourself.
Yes.
So we are swimming in really sensitive waters here, because if a platform then, because this is also, it could be potentially dangerous. Yeah. If a platform basically because if you just want to do your research, a little bit of it, just, later on today, you'll find that this stuff is rampant on platforms.
Yes.
It is everywhere.
People
are talking about it. People are using it. People are recommending it to others. The vendors are
selling
many, and they're selling. Mind you, even after the Poisons Board gave the whatever yesterday, I still saw very many ads pop up on feeds of the same thing. It doesn't stop because of that.
Yeah.
So now, if we're saying that there's a potential danger, shouldn't this conversation then be widened, where a little bit more research is put into it, so that truly, if there is a danger to the lives of women because of the use of this thing, then it will not be a maybe or if kind of situation. It will be clear. It will be unequivocal from the folks who are in the space saying, do not. Because right now we haven't seen them say that. It's a maybe kind of sort of situation. But should the conversation not be widened a little bit more?
The conversation should be widened a little bit more. And what we've done, we've just begun the conversation. We're saying there's a problem with this thing being advertised. Now we've opened that door to that conversation. Now, can we have the medical, the medical professionals come in and tell us what, because we know there is a danger in this thing, but what is the specific danger of this thing? And if you're going to use it, once the medical, have spoken, then they've already spoken, that's final. Yeah. So, and like I said at the beginning, I mean, there's not only just one way to fight mis and disinformation. So we are going the platform accountability way. Then the doctors can come out and do the debunking and pre-banking, which we actually invite, and they should actually do this thing. More professionals should come out and speak about things that are like areas that people are being mis and disinformed about, because the reason that you will be lied to is because you do not have the information. So the people with the information should begin to speak up, to create content around this information, to create verified content around sexual health, because we don't know very much about sexual health and what it actually means to have a healthy reproductive. We don't know much about this conversation. And so this is an invitation. The report was not just to highlight where the platforms are failing, but it's also opening the door to expand this conversation. So I agree with you. We should have that conversation, and we should be hearing them, speaking out about these things. The gynecologists and all these people, they should be speaking out against, for, against, like, depending on the research and also their practice. For us, it was to say there's a problem here. You're advertising this thing. You're amplifying this thing. It is harmful, and these are the findings. Yes.
It broadens, like you're saying, the conversation to extra surveillance by the regulators, surveillance by the platforms, just to make sure that what is there is not harming people. I'm saying get out of the platforms and come into the streets, into the market. You find such products and very many other products being sold. You'll go into many of the markets in Nairobi and other parts, and you will hear of things that are sold, and you ask yourself, what on earth are we talking about? Skin products,
even the BBLs and all of these things.
Very many things.
Yes.
And it will take a long time for that to get to the attention of government regulators, for then the government regulators to come out and say, it has come to our attention that this is happening. By the time it is coming to their attention, many people have
been harmed,
bought, have used. There are those who have come out with positive testimonials. There are those who have come out to say they've been harmed, or there are those who've been ashamed to come out to say that, I used it and I got harm. So by the time the government regulator is coming out, this thing has already gone out. So even as we talk about the platforms, look at it, it's the same way. It's what is the capacity of the Poisons Board to actually regulate this? What's their capacity to have enforcement mechanism? What can we do as a community, as a society? Maybe it's about increasing information. What is harmful, what's not? How do you tell what's harmful, how do you tell what's not? How do you report? How do you raise concern? How do you ask questions? Is this good or not? How do you reach this particular regulator so that you can ask them, I saw this product, would you sanction it? And it's the conversation then broadens up for me. Into
it has
all
to
this.
it has to broaden up, and it has to involve a lot of education, and not just education from the people who are doing the fact checking, or from the people who are doing it's also the people within like these professions who understand what is going on, putting out information to debunk and pre-bank what is going on, so that also the government knows what they're acting on. We have the consumers we have the consumers
federation.
We have the consumers federation who was supposed to also flag this. I remember when we did my Always Explain, I'll keep referencing to that because it was a big moment, and they did not put out any statement. Well, does that mean that because they did not put out a statement that we were not being harmed by these pads? Just because a Poisons Board has said this may not be harmful, does it really mean that there's no actual harm? And what we're basically saying is we deserve to be protected. We deserve to interact in a space that is safe. We deserve to, whenever we complain, we deserve to be heard, because we actually deserve to be heard. It is within human dignity to be heard, and whenever there's complaints, to make sure that the complaints are heard, and when there's something harmful, can we be protected from these things? Because there's only so much that we can do, as individuals. We actually really do deserve to be protected by the agencies that say they're about protecting people. Then be about it.
Consumer Federation as well. And such other platforms.
Yes.
In smaller scale, let's say you have a group of consumers who really monitor beauty products. Others who monitor other kind of products that are in the market, that are maybe being advertised in media, online media, offline media. I think maybe it's also an important thing to
it is an important
encourage
thing to do,
such organizations to come up, such people such as yourselves, to come up and be more active and more vocal. So that you create awareness. If a new product comes out, you say, okay, there's a new product that's come out, and what we have found out is that it has been banned in 1 or 2 countries.
Yes.
And these were the reasons, and this is what happened. These are the side effects of it.
Yeah.
So you flag it, and then you're able to reach out to the platforms. And if you reached out to the platform and the platform did not take action, then I'd say, okay, let's go after the platform.
Yes.
Until then, I think you're
no,
picking.
we really
Is there room
we did.
for, I mean, is there
We
room to
did
do
reach
that as
out.
well?
We did reach out to the platforms, and there's a way that there's corporate communication. We have not. You know what I'm saying? There's a corporate communication because we did not just release the report.
Sure.
There was communication. We have noticed this. This thing has been flagged. This thing, but women are complaining about this thing. What is your comment about this thing? We have this report, and this is what we have found out. Do you
What was
have
the
anything?
response?
The response was we have community the normal, we have community guidelines, we have this and that and that. It's the same. It's the same. Yeah. Yes.
Is there room, and is it something that can actually be? Because I really do think that there's quite a lot that comes onto the shores of country upon country
Yes.
that does not go through the due diligence of verification that perhaps it must, and that people just get caught up in using a lot of these things, and platforms then will market them because of the money.
The money, yes.
Is this an opportunity for a room or a space to be created where there really is an eye, kind of like a watchdog, surveillance, to then be able to call in the professionals in whatever sector,
Yes.
to then be able to verify, apart from the folks who are giving the licenses, apart from the folks who are, registering you, to say what is it that you're really coming in to do?
Yes, there should be. There should be people who look out and say this. Actually, yes, there should be, and I don't know if there is and that we are not aware, because also government works in mysterious ways. It is possible that it exists, but we just do not know, because also they do not communicate, and so when there's no communication, then it creates this vacuum where we can miss and disinform one another. So I do not want to say that there is no, because I'm not sure if there is. Like I said, it works in mysterious ways. It could exist, but we do not know about it. And if we do not know about it, then it means that we do not know how to even begin the process of accountability.
Yeah.
Right.
But where we are beginning, because this is the path that we're seeing, is platforms. You are advertising this thing. You are amplifying this thing. And
You have
so
the capacity.
you have the capacity to actually limit how much this thing is amplified. But because there's money and because there's advertisement, you're going to take the money and you're going to go. But then also, there's also opportunity to have a larger conversation. What is the government doing? Do we know what the government is doing? Yeah.
Asante sana. We'll get you.
You get me? Okay.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.